Hi, I'm Gunnar Esiason, and I have cystic fibrosis and a feeding tube. Thank you for watching the second episode of the Own Your Feeding Tube video series. This video is made possible by an unrestricted educational grant by Nestle Health Services to the Gunnar Esiason Foundation. This video, What Can I Expect from My New Feeding Tube, will cover some frequently asked questions as well as some benefits people may have as a result of having a feeding tube placed. A feeding tube is pretty easy to use, but it is a bit of a lifestyle adjustment.
Nothing within the Own It video series should be considered medical advice. Such advice can only be given by a physician who is experienced with cystic fibrosis. The Gunnar Esiason Foundation, Gunnar, and contributors to the Own It video series cannot be held responsible for any damage which may result from using the information on this video without permission of your medical doctor.
I think there was some fear associated with getting the feeding tube like anyone else, but my doctors, they really encouraged me and they shared with me some really great success stories that changed my mind. They told me about one girl who was really dangerously low with her weight, and she was constantly very sick. After about 4 or 5 months with the feeding tube, she had very few hospital stays, if any at all, and she put on about 25 pounds. So that was a really encouraging story for me.
He was driving, and then the rest of us were lined up right behind him.
On the way there.
We were right behind him. It was when we were going through Buffalo. We were and he was right over there.
The first few changes that I noticed was I definitely had more energy. That extra weight really helped me get through a lot of things, especially colds, flu season, allergy season. A lot of those things became a lot easier to fight now that I had more energy in me to fight them, rather than just fighting the disease of CF. Beyond that, though, I noticed small little things. My hair started growing a lot thicker. I used to get these really terrible sunburns when I was little, and those went away almost immediately after I put on all this weight. I guess you could definitely say that I was malnourished before I got the feeding tube put in, and really pretty quickly that all turned around. Right after I got the feeding tube placed, the number one thing that I noticed was definitely the recovery period. It's definitely not an easy thing to go through. There was about a 6 to 7 week time when I could hardly move. It was a pretty invasive stomach surgery, and I remember spending a lot of time on the couch trying to recover, and for someone who had been so active for his entire life, that was a pretty tough challenge for me. I remember the day that the doctor finally cleared me to play hockey and run around again. That was a pretty exciting week for me. As the weeks went on, it got easier and easier to deal with, and I also was seeing a change in my body. I was seeing that I was putting on weight much faster than I ever had at any point in my life. I'll be honest, I stepped on the scale I think every single day in the morning when I woke up from doing an overnight feed, and I was putting on weight at an incredible clip. I think every 2 weeks I was gaining 5 pounds, and I spoke with the doctor about that, and she said that was a crazy experience that I was having. Obviously, I was just really pushing it really as far as I could go. So right when I got my feeding tube placed, it was a PEG tube, and I have to say that was pretty annoying. It was about a 12-inch tube that came out of my stomach, and what they told me was that it had to stay there until the wound healed, until I could get switched over to a button. A button is a much smaller, low-profile device that they put in there, and I have to say, once the button went in, there was a world of difference. But as soon as the button went in, it was night and day for me. The most difficult lifestyle adjustment that I've faced has definitely been learning how to sleep with the feeding tube. I used to sleep on my stomach. Obviously, that's not really a possibility anymore that I do nocturnal feeds. So that's really been the number one change. My body has really changed quite a bit. I've put weight on in places that I never thought I was ever going to gain weight. Every once in a while I'll get some bloating, or there'll be some pain from overeating or overfeeding, but really it's just part of the whole process. The real big issue that I know a lot of people had, including me at the beginning, was the actual appearance of the feeding tube. If you're at the beach or swimming, you take your shirt off, it's a noticeable thing. It's very apparent that it's there. But like anything else, you just have to accept it. You gotta own the fact that you have it, and once you come to terms with it, then it's a pretty easy thing to deal with. If I'm really going full speed with all the feeding tube and trying to gain a lot of weight, I've noticed that I can put weight on in my chest, and suddenly get a big belly. My face blew up at times. I used to be 32 size waist, now I'm a 34, 35. So I had to get new pants, I had to make all these adjustments after getting the feeding tube. And I'd always been lean, so I never really experienced that. Since May 2011, I've been able to put on about 30 pounds. My normal diet hasn't changed at all. I think maybe one minor change is I don't really eat breakfast anymore because I wake up full. But other than that, I'm still eating lunch and dinner as full meals, and I'm still snacking throughout the day. So I'm getting, normal calories as well as calories from the formula. So the way that I clean my G-tube site is just with normal soap and water. When I'm in the shower, it's, like anything else. Just body soap and it's fine. Yes, I've definitely been very happy that I've gotten a G-tube place.
Got questions for Gunnar? Send them to us. If you're on Facebook, you can send them to us at facebook.com/Boomer Esiason Foundation. You can Twitter us at twitter.com/cystic fibrosis or twitter.com/G17 Esiason. And you can also send an email to Gunnar at gunnarsblog@esiason.org. When Gunnar answers your question, we'll credit you. So get busy and send them in.